All right, hey there, and welcome to Jeep Sheep TV. We're going to be talking more about the $100 Jeep tub, but today we are taking a break. So this is underneath my Jeep. This is directly below the driver's seat, and you can see there's some foam in there. That's from a previous mistake, but you'll notice here, this body mount here, and I'm gonna try and get the camera level with that for you. But you'll notice that there is some inconsistency there. The body mount has indeed embedded itself inside where it's supposed to belong. Obviously, there is supposed to be a piece of metal across this whole area, and the body mount's supposed to be sitting on that and screwing into it, and that is now all gone. And that is a huge issue that I just cannot ignore while I am working on the other Jeep tub. So I'm gonna have to do a quick fix on this in order to continue driving the Jeep to and from work. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Now you'll see things like that have been created as a result of the body mounts being blown out. Because this is lower and other parts want to stay higher, we are actually splitting at some other corroded areas. Now we're gonna go back under here and you can see this up here. Oh my gosh, I'm crawling. Give me just a second. We have a similar situation with this body mount, so that one's going to need some attention as well. Fun. All right, step one is finished. The body mount has been removed. Let's take a look up in there. Yep. All right, cool. So this is just kind of a fun story. So I use just about every extraction tool I own. And I needed about all of them, except for the body saw. The body saw was useless. Anyway, so what I did is this sits in the car like so. This is the 2-inch spacer for the body lift. And then car here, frame here, or tub here, frame here, car's the whole thing, whatever. And so I actually ended up cutting with the angle iron. I cut the head off of the bolt, and then I ran into the issue where some of the head was still left on the washer. So then I drilled out some of the bolt, and that wasn't really helping either. So then I went and I put a wrench up here on the seized nut, and I wrenched on that really, really hard until this sheared. And when that happened, this was sitting like so, and this washer flew out with a small explosion and hit the ground. So I'm pretty glad I wasn't laying under it. But yeah, so the head sheared, it exploded, and then the whole thing just came right out. Yeah. Also, there's a lot of mud in here, and that's hot. All right, check this out. So I got myself a steel tube, and that's a 2x2 steel tube, and I put that in here. Now, keep in mind that this whole area used to be something. It was about 2 inches tall, which is great. So I had a steel tube that I put in here, and I'm going to try and weld it in this top corner here, up against this back wall, and then some of this flange that I cut out. That's how I'm going to fix it. So what I've done is I've jacked up the body, and then I lined up the body lift, the body mount, and then I took a screw and I put it through there to mark where the hole is going to be. So that way I can line up the hole and weld a nut inside there for the body mount. So yeah, we're making progress. All right, update time. So I marked the part and I drilled through it with my drill. And then it's hard to see because it's dark in there, but I took a nut and I welded it in. Now, here's a thing that I thought of that worked pretty darn well. I put a bolt through into the nut with another nut on the other side to hold it in place as I tacked it on, and it worked pretty well. So there you go, yeah. All right, so I am learning that I'm not very good at welding whilst upside down or in tight spaces, but I guess I can get a pass on that, so. Yeah, oh wow, that's not in focus. Welds are not great, but you can see here that I set myself up for success because the tube itself is wedged between two features of the body. So that's what's really holding it. The welds are just keeping it more or less in there from like when I'm bouncing up and down. But the geometry of the Jeep is what's really keeping this in place. And so that's good. And then I've got my bolt coming in here. I need a longer bolt because I need to be able to fit the bottom puck on here, and I can't right now, but it all lines up. I definitely started lining up the bolt prior to welding it, so that way I knew that I could get a bolt in there. Yay. Alright, this is a fun one. So I've got a bolt that I put in here because I was worried, oops, excuse me, I was worried about up and down travel. Like if I hit a bump, that this is just going to fly off. So that hole I actually drilled earlier in preparation for this. And so I drove the bolt through and it's directly in line with the mount to the frame. And so all force is going to just transfer straight to that bolt, and that should hold it all in pretty darn well. So yeah, there's my little failsafe. Alright, it's important that you see this nonsense. This is where the body mount was. It was just completely blown out. This is driver's side, front, right below the instrument panel type deal. Here, let me show you what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to look like. See how it's like very thick? Oh, come on. Yeah, it's quite thick in there and not broken to pieces. So that is why I bought a whole new tub, because nonsense like that is just not repairable. It's not recognizable, and yeah, no good. Alright, it makes me kind of sad having to use this much tube on a tub that I'm going to be throwing away eventually. But safety is paramount, so I had a bit of a gap down there and I had to just fill it with as much weld as possible. But I did, and we'll see how well that holds. And then I was able to weld just this little bit of a corner up here, and that had a gap as well. So, you know, fun stuff, but I'm hoping that will hold. It should. That's a lot of steel tubes, so alright, we're gonna hope for the best.